I know you are very well educated. As a matter of fact, you were doing a PhD program when you got pregnant with your first child. But did you ever get any formal training in poultry farming?
No, I just practiced behind the house. I was really bored in the house, so I just decided to keep fowls, to keep myself busy. So it turned out that I really liked it. I tried, stopped, then tried again on a larger scale.
Hi guys, Mutombo here. It's 5:10 in the morning and I'm on my way to a poultry farm. Please just sit back and let me take you through a day in the life of a poultry farmer. Full disclosure, that poultry farmer in question is no other than my dear mother. When we get to the poultry farm, the first order of business is to prepare the fowls to be taken to the market to be sold. Before the fowls are taken to the market, they have to be weighed to ensure that they first meet the minimum weight that this poultry has set as their standard. And secondly, the weight of the fowls will determine the prices at which they are sold.
This one should be 4 kilos. 4.4.
4.4. Wow, this is a big bird.
Yeah, it is. 4.4 kilos.
The ones that are too small are kept down here.
This 3. I'm putting very small ones. So that if you don't have to take them, bring another 3 kilos. Bring more.
I've seen you get up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the farm. Why do you need to be there so early?
Yeah, because those birds don't like sun. Animals, even humans, they don't like to stay under the sun for too long. So when you sell in the morning, the birds are healthy. If you don't sell some, you bring them back to the poultry farm, they will be fine. But when you go under the sun, you can lose some. But I actually lost birds because I used to go under the sun. I didn't know what to do. I was just learning. So they die. People understand that and they come to buy very early. Some other people go very late in the evenings, but I don't go in the evenings, between 5 and 6, just to sell for 1 hour. For me, that's stressful. .6 to 3.4. This cage and that one are the same. You also film our third road so that you shouldn't be as if we have only.
Yeah. Anyway, the next order of business is to carry these fowls to the market. That's what's happening now. We are going to take the fowls to the food market and try to sell them there. In the video, we see you drive off to the market with birds, but unfortunately, we could not follow you to capture the market experience. Can you describe what that is like?
Yeah,
Do you have to...
It's a very beautiful experience. When you go to the market, especially when you go very early in the morning, you sell. They come and buy by 8, 9, you have already finished selling. Most of the time, since they know me for big birds, they stand there and wait. When I come, they buy. When they stop buying, just go home, because when it gets to 10, 11, nobody buys again.
Wow. Oh, you've really mastered it. And you know, you just answered the next question that I was going to ask. I was going to ask if you have to hustle customers.
At first, I used to hustle for customer clients. I didn't know what to do. So I was always like, do you need fowls? Do you need fowls? So I realized that I don't have to ask. The people look, the fowls sell themselves. you don't convince anybody to come and buy, because when they look at the fowl, they see the weight, they buy them. So just stay where you are, your clients will come. There are people on the watch out for fowls, so before you come sometimes, so just scramble for your fowls, and that's it, you sell.
So basically your marketing is in the birds themselves. You raise the birds to sell themselves.
Yes, the birds sell themselves.
For someone looking to get into poultry farming, what is a good number to start with? A good number of birds? Someone who has never ever kept birds in their life.
10.
10?
Yeah.
Just 10?
10, just try 10. Or 20, maximum 50, please. Any business, start small. I used to think that I can just get into a business that big and they just make so much. But it's an error everybody is tempted to commit. Listen to me from experience.
Our main mission here is to give the chicken drinking water and feed. In order to do that, we need to complete a few tasks. Okay, so these are the freshly washed drinkers. We washed these drinkers and rinsed them twice with water, with clean water. Apparently these chicks were super thirsty because they are all gathering around the drinkers that we just filled and put in. Now we have to put some feed for them. So my colleague is going around gathering the feeders. And this is the feed. Is this all the feed that we have that is already mixed?
That's the mix.
So this is the feed. It's a special recipe for this poultry. No other poultry has this recipe. Okay, it's 9:41 a.m. right now. Yeah, we got here around 5:30. My goodness, I have to say I am exhausted. We have filled all the drinkers, all these drinkers in the 3 fowl rooms. So that's room. This is room 1, That's room 2, and behind me is room 3. Filling those drinkers, first of all, the water to wash them, then the water to fill them. All of that required like at least 30 buckets of water from this well. So we draw from the well, we fill this drum, and then we can use from this drum. Drawing water from this well is no joke. No joke. My hands are literally begging me for mercy. So normally this well is covered, but we still need to fill this drum because we use the water that we initially carried to mix the water for the chicken. Yeah, so we need to fill this drum, and then the next task right now is to fill the feeders with feed for the fowls. I have to say honestly, running a poultry is no joke. You have to be meticulous. Fowls need a lot of care because they can die very easily. You know what? I'm going to leave all this commentary for the actual expert.
You're whispering something.
Mortality.
Mortality. If you construct a good poultry farm, a good poultry house where there is ventilation, the temperature is right, there is biosecurity, there is hygiene and sanitation, mortality is very low. We have very low mortality during the dry season, but during the rainy season, these bacteria, they grow very fast, and we sometimes have some mortality, but not much.
But I think that has improved over the years as you've learned and
You are right.
as a poultry farmer.
It has improved. When we started, the birds would die, we will not know why. But we have assistance from the veterinary experts, from the regional delegations, from the subdivisional delegations. So they train us on hygiene and sanitation. Biosecurity, that's the key. Biosecurity simply means you disinfect yourself before entering the poultry farm. Make sure your dresses are clean. You protect the fowls from contamination. Hygiene, sanitation, biosecurity. That's all. But sometimes people are careless, so they just walk into the poultry farm. Even if there is a notice there, they sometimes ignorantly come in. Then that contaminates the fowls.
The water from that well is no joke. Okay, so these are some fowls that just came back from the market that were not sold. So they'll come back and grow fat again to go back to the market. All the ones with markings on their heads are the ones that went to the market. They are all 3.5 kilograms and above. Very heavy, fat fowls. An interesting question. How long is one poultry cycle? That is from
One batch. We call it batch.
Oh.
A batch. Actually, we bring in day-old chicks and we brood. Brood means heating them for 2 weeks continuously, either under charcoal or with electricity, depending on what you have. If they are growing well, you can remove the heat. But if you see that they still need heat, you leave it for another 1 week, let it be 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, you transfer to the fattening room, you fatten, change their feed, the composition of their feed for another maybe 6 weeks. After that, you take to the market. At 8 weeks, from 8 weeks, you start selling.
2 months. Okay.
8 to 9 weeks, but normally I keep for 9 to 10 weeks because my clients really love big birds. But at 8 weeks, they should be fat enough, about 3.5, 4 kilos.
Okay, so these are the cages that they use to carry the chicken to the market. As you can see, we have some good manure here from the fowl poop.
The fowl dropping. We call them fowl dropping.
Fowl dropping. Wow. Okay. The professional says the term is fowl dropping. This is one of the warehouses where we store some of the ingredients for feed.
2 go to the back. 2 go to the back. And just...
This is 0.2.
It's 0.2.
Yeah.
Okay.
29.6.
Okay. We are supposed to get 8.5 times 4 because we are getting 4 back. We need 34 kilos, which means we open the back and add about 5 kilos here. Please, just kind of put it on.
Okay, so this is the mixing room. This is where we mix all the ingredients that go into our special feed. And when we mix all of this, that's when we have what we are going to feed to the fowls. How many different ingredients go into your feed?
9. Sometimes 8.
Sometimes 8.
Depending on what is available.
Okay. So to mix, we have 2 spades there.
What are some of the products or services that your farm offers? You have spoken of birds.
Now we offer like the fowl droppings. The fowl droppings are very good to crop farmers. When you put fowl manure, it hasn't got chemicals that will contaminate the soil or stay as residues in the soil. So people go for fowl droppings. Fowl droppings are the best because fowls they don't urinate. The urine and the droppings mix and come out very rich in ammonia gas or ammonia, which is good for the soil. This is manure. They buy this manure. This is very old manure.
So you scrape it from the floor of
They strip the floor of the poultry house, then they dump the manure here. They leave it here for some time to dry.
and this is very good because it's organic.
This is organic and it's not directly under the sun. When it's directly under the sun, it's not very good for the farm because the power has reduced. The sun has made the ammonia gas to go into the air. But as it gets dry here, it's very good because the ammonia gas is still in the manure.
And then if people need manure for their farms, they come and buy.
Carry.
Yeah.
They just come and carry. In fact, I have steady customers. Steady clients. There are people who are waiting in January to pay 100 bucks for that.
100 bucks?
Yes, 200 bucks as well. Yeah, there are people who buy and sell.
Okay.
We get students from University of Bamenda, from Jakiri. I think you met one of my interns from veterinary school Jakiri. So they come and do internship 1 month, sometimes 1 week. Sometimes the delegation of livestock send them to us. They come and assist us. We train them. Sometimes they learn theory in school, but to do the real practical, they come to poultry farms. So my farm is always a reference farm for them.
For a poultry farmer who is just starting out, what are the capital investments that you think they would need? That initial investment.
If it's fixed assets are the poultry house, the drinkers, the feeders, the scale, those things that will be there for long, but only depreciation, cages to transport fowls to the market. Those ones aside. Don't talk about them because you can cover them up after 2, 3 years, 4 years. But to look for profits, the profit on the birds. You need birds, day-old chicks. A carton of 50 birds, depending on the period, it ranges between 17,250 if you are subsidized by the government, to 35,000 francs per carton. You need kerosene, sawdust, you need feed. The main input is feed. You need matches, bulbs, drugs, vaccines, food supplements, disinfectants. If you want to maintain good biosecurity, you need to have disinfectant that you sterilize everywhere. There's a lot of sterilization of the buildings everywhere yourself. Salary for the workers, don't forget that. If it's just 50 but you don't need a worker, you do it yourself. Then charcoal, electricity, transportation, phone bills, all of that into the fowls. So that one is what you can calculate after the first batch. But for those fixed assets, it's after years of working.
So you break even for your fixed assets after
Yes,
few years.
3, 4, 5 years.
You spoke of feed. So for one fowl, about how many kilograms
of feed can one consume? Up to 10 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks, they consume about 8 kilos of feed. Then the amount of money you spend per fowl is about Let's say you spend maximum between 2,500 to 3,000 francs. Then you sell at 4,500 to 5,000 francs, depending on the season. Because there are some festive seasons when there are weddings, occasions, celebrations. During that period, people really eat a lot of fowl, chicken. But when there is nothing to celebrate, when the people are fighting, there is no market, people are running away. So we need peace to relate to the poultry farm properly.
Yes. What are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced as a poultry farmer?
When I started, my biggest challenge was transportation. How to transport the fowls to the market. At one time, I had these bikes that helped me to take my fowls to the market, sometimes taxis. But along the line, bikes were stopped from moving on top of the quota. I had problems. And transportation to the market is a big problem. The road to the poultry farm is something else. We put sandbags, but it's still a challenge up to now. Another thing was water. We have a well that is about 15 meters deep. To pull the water out of the well is challenging. We need funds to put a water pump that will pump the water out, or we take directly from tap water. We used to have tap water, but again, people will pass and break the pipe and water will be flowing. So we have had water problems. Marketing, before I mastered the trade of marketing, the periods, will there be people to buy? We just fatten fowls, produce fowls hoping that they will buy. But if there is no festivity, if people are not there to buy, you will not sell. And then there is a problem of training the workers. You need trained workers. But those trained workers want to open their own farms. So you bring in people that you need to train.
What are some of the biggest lessons learned in your years of farming?
You learn every day. You cannot claim that you know everything because it changes all the time. Like of recent, as I earlier said, we now use food supplements. It improves the fowls in every aspect, the taste, the texture, everything. So we learn every day. It's so interesting. You come every day and see that the fowl has grown. You actually enjoy what you are doing. I enjoy what I do.
It's true that this whole video is just you advising new poultry farmers, but I'll ask again, what key pieces of advice would you give new or aspiring poultry farmers out there?
Okay. First, start small. I know people will not listen. Why do you start small? Because you are new. You will make mistakes. You have losses. You have mortality. And experience is the best teacher. So that those first batches are not something you get money from. Those are your experimental birds. When you start small and you want to construct your poultry farm, construct it right. Construct it right. Make sure there is a lot of ventilation from this side, passing this side. A poultry farm is not supposed to be expensive. It's just supposed to meet the norms. Tons of ventilation so that the fowls don't start breathing the dye of the ammonia gas that comes. If air does not carry the ammonia gas out of the poultry farm, you come and see a lot of mortality.
From their droppings?
Yes, from their droppings. The whole of this wall should be open and only covered by a net. You build it up to a certain level, just up to where the fowl cannot jump out.
1 meter.
About 1 meter. Get your equipment right. Don't go into complicated equipments because that's your learning process. Just take something small, start small and learn. Hygiene, sanitation, then biosecurity. So long as you do it right, you'll make money out of it. Thank you.
Is there any other thing you feel like you need
to say again? I think I've said it all. I just want to praise you and that you are wonderful, that you made me do this video. I've never done a video before and I'm blessed with my sweet daughter who has made me to do a video.
And you're so good with the camera, so eloquent.
Oh, thank you so much.
Perfect.
Thank
you.
Thank you, my sweet treasure. Bye-bye.
Bye. No, because me, when I'm sitting down to film, I say things like over and over before it comes out the way you're talking now. Like, we've just taken
poultry farming is on my fingertips, so it's like, I love it also. I'm lucky I'm passionate about it.